Hello everyone, welcome back to Showscape for another recap video. Today we will be recapping 1995's crime thriller movie 7, starring Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt and Kevin Spacey. Let's get started. Detective Lieutenant William Somerset, who is soon about to retire, is partnered with a young and a cocky short-tempered detective, David Mills. They meet at a scene of a homicide, and Somerset offers to take Mills out for a drink so they can talk and get to know each other. But Mills wants to skip the routine and get straight to work. Somerset and Mills investigate the murder of a morbidly obese man who was forced to eat spaghetti until a kick to his stomach burst him open. Somerset wants to be reassigned as he thinks this could be the start of a series of murders, and he does not want to start working on a case that he cannot finish since he is going to retire in 6 days. But the captain denies his request, telling him it's got nothing to do with a serial killer. Somerset starts to investigate it, and Mills is assigned the murder case of a prominent defense attorney, Eli Gould, with greed written on the floor with his blood. Somerset breaks into the house where the obese man was killed and finds gluttony written on the wall behind the refrigerator. Somerset tells the captain that both the murders are connected and the killer is inspired by the 7 deadly sins:
greed, sloth, wrath, pride, lust, and envy,
2 of which are committed and 5 more to be expected. Meanwhile, Mills' wife Tracy, who seems like a really lovely woman, invites Somerset to dinner with the couple. She wants Mills and Somerset to get along with each other. And as she hoped, everything seems to go well. While having dinner, a train passes on a nearby track, causing the building to tremble slightly. The couple tells Somerset how they got tricked by the realtor and got the apartment not aware of a subway nearby. Somerset tells them they have a very soothing, relaxing and a vibrating home, and everybody has a good laugh. After dinner, Somerset and Mills examine the evidence from the 2 scenes and find a picture of Gould's wife with blood painted around the eyes. They think she might spot something about the murder scene that nobody else would. Somerset and Mills visit Mrs. Gould in a safe house and have her look at the pictures. She points out a painting that is upside down. Somerset and Mills take a look at the painting. Somerset brushes powder on the wall behind the painting and finds fingerprints outlining the words "help me." They run the fingerprints through AFIS and trace it back to a pedophile who goes by the name Victor. Victor has a long history of criminal records and was also on the stands for an attempted rape on a minor, but escaped conviction due to the efforts of his lawyer, Eli Gould, the victim of the Greed murder. Detectives and SWAT team bust into Victor's apartment and find him tied up on his bed with sloth written on the wall. They find numerous photos of Victor taken by the killer, which indicate he's been on that bed since a year. Initially he is presumed to be dead, but surprisingly he is still alive and is on a severe physical and mental deterioration. He is rushed to the hospital, where the doctor tells the detectives that he was frequently drugged and kept alive through minimal food and drink. Mills asks if Victor spoke or communicated anything, to which the doctor says he could not, as he chewed off his own tongue long ago, and that he would not survive for long. Meanwhile, Tracy calls Somerset and asks him to meet her, as she wants someone to talk to. They both meet the next morning at a diner, and Tracy tells Somerset that she is pregnant, and she is afraid to raise a child in the miserable city they live in, and is afraid to tell Mills. Somerset advises her to tell Mills only if she decides to have the baby. And if she decides not to have it, then never let Mills know that she was pregnant. Somerset makes a list of books related to the 7 deadly sins. Using contacts from FBI, he gets a list of names who have borrowed those books from the library. They narrow the list down to a man named Jonathan John Doe. Mills and Somerset visit Doe's apartment. Doe, whose face is hidden, sees Somerset and Mills waiting outside of his apartment after returning from an errand. He starts shooting at them and tries to flee. Mills chases him for a while, but Doe hits Mills with an iron rod. Doe holds Mills helpless at gunpoint, but lets him live and flees. Mills wants to break into Doe's apartment and thinks Doe taking a shot at them was enough probable cause. But Somerset tries to convince him not to, as getting there in the first place wasn't an illegal way. Mills breaks the door anyway and bribes a homeless woman to tell the cops that she called them there. Somerset and Mills search Doe's apartment and find souvenirs, notebooks and pictures of the crimes, and a picture of Mills who fought off a photographer from the press, which Doe posed as at the sloth crime scene. The phone at the apartment starts to ring, and Mills answers it. It is John Doe congratulating the detectives on finding him and apologizes to Mills for hurting him and tells him that he admires him. They find a picture of a young woman who seems to be a prostitute and believes she might be the next victim. They also find a receipt from a leather shop where Doe placed an order for an unusual sex device, a leather strap-on with a knife blade at the tip. Somerset gets a message that the girl is found dead. They reach the crime scene, and the girl is found dead, with lust written on the door. In the room, there is also a man who is visibly shaken, who was forced by Doe at gunpoint to wear the device, to rape and kill the girl. The next day, Doe calls 911 and confesses of another crime. A model has killed herself in her apartment with pride written on the wall. Somerset and Mills reach the scene. Doe cut off her nose, glued a bottle of sleeping pills to one hand and a telephone to the other, giving her two choices. Call for help and live the rest of her life disfigured, or take the pills and die. She chose to die. Somerset decides to stay in the force till the case is over and asks Mills to keep him as his partner. As they both return to the police headquarters, John Doe shows up and turns himself in and asks for lawyers straight away. He has been cutting off the skin of his fingertips for a while to avoid identification. That's why forensics could not find any fingerprints at his apartment. Doe's lawyer says there are 2 more bodies hidden away, and Doe has agreed to show them to the detectives. But he will take only Detective Somerset and Mills, specifically that day at a certain time. When asked why just them, Doe's lawyer says that he admires them, and if they don't accept the offer, the bodies will never be found, and that Doe will plead insanity. And if the detectives agree to the conditions, Doe will sign a full confession and plead guilty right away, to which Somerset and Mills agree. Somerset and Mills both have microphones taped to their chests for the task force to monitor their conversation with Doe. Doe takes Somerset and Mills to a desert outskirt of the city, and while they're heading there, they have an interesting conversation, which you got to watch in the actual movie. It's something really. You start to question the morality around you and in your daily life, and things like that. You start to get a feeling that Mills is up for a big surprise. It's not sure if Doe admires Mills or envies him. They reach the desert, and Doe takes them to a specific spot. A van starts approaching down the road, and Somerset stops it far away. Doe had arranged to deliver a box to Mills at the exact time that they were there. Somerset receives the box from the delivery guy and opens it. He sees bloodstains as he starts to cut open the box, and is shocked when he discovers what is inside. Somerset starts running towards Mills, asking him to throw his gun down, while John Doe starts telling how he admires Mills and how he wished to live like him. He also tells how much he admires Mills' pretty wife Tracy. Tension starts to rise, and Doe tells he visited Mills' house after he had left and tried to live his life by playing husband. Things did not go as expected, so he took a souvenir, Tracy's head, representing envy. Mills is in disbelief and asks Somerset what was in the box. He hopes what Doe told was a lie, and Doe assures it is not and asks him to become vengeance by killing him. Mills starts to cry out in discomfort and is also angry at the same time. Somerset tries to calm Mills and asks him not to kill the suspect, but Doe starts giving disturbing details about how he killed Tracy and the baby inside. Mills discovers that Tracy was pregnant for the first time and breaks down for a brief. Somerset, now helpless, can only try and tell Mills if he kills him, Doe wins. Out of the anger from the gut-wrenching discovery, Mills shoots Doe in the head and few more shots after he is dead, completing wrath. At last, John Doe did complete all the murders inspired by the 7 deadly sins. After the incident, Mills is taken away, and the captain tells Somerset that they will take care of him. He asks Somerset what he was planning on doing, and Somerset says he will stick around, indicating that he will be staying in the force. The movie ends with Somerset quoting Ernest Hemingway.
The world is a fine place and worth fighting for. I agree with the second part.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel and watch recaps of other movies that you've missed. Until next time, take care.